Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Thursday. It's May 12th. This will be our chart lesson for the day. And really, in the end, it was just a range day. We had a really good trend down here. Early on, I was looking at the red channel, but it just continued to. Once you got a couple of swings here, I drew that trend line. It turned out it was a pretty effective trend line. We got to notice how we got a break here, moved to a new low, and then it reversed. Um, but yeah, it looked like we were going to just have a tight range until it just kept going lower. And early on, I was really looking at this red channel, and I think it's still valid. It's just a little, it's just another. I think people were looking at it and the market accelerated, and once it accelerated, you use the steeper trend line, and then we had a nice big two-tiered channel on the way back up, and this trend line, there were some nice trades off this trend line, and even this one going up. So but we'll back out. We'll talk about the trades, and we'll wrap this week up. Um, no chart lesson tomorrow, unless it rains. If it rains, I might come in and do one, but I doubt it. So first trade I saw, you had to be a little patient. It was right after the open today. Um, there's no long or short setup here. You just, you might have thought about going short up here, but look at all that overlap. You figure prices are going to come back to the EMA. We do have a break in a new high. So I guess you could probably make that one green, but I'm not crazy about the trade. Something better will probably come along, and it does. And notice how we came down. We just started going sideways here. We had a little failed break lower. I don't like the long though because we got a trend working down and we haven't had a break yet. Um, it was tempting to go short right there, but hopefully you understand why you can't. There's too much support there. It's right at the bottom of that trend channel. We had a big overshoot here. Of course, it could be two-tiered, and maybe that's not an overshoot because if you draw the other line, it kind of fits on a two-tiered channel there. But anyway, you don't want to go short right into that trend line, possible EMA. And you don't want to go long here either. So just kind of sit and wait and see what happens. And notice how we have a failed break out the high side. And now you got a big bearish bar. Go short right there. And you get two measured legs down to a new low. And then it bounces. And you got a little channel working up. You get a close outside of it here and a move to a new high. But you're just kind of in the middle here. You're not back to what I was looking at the trend line in any way. So I was a little hesitant to enter right there. If you did, there's not much else you could do except exit when it went higher. Um, but I just don't think you want to enter there, especially with this with the trend line being right there, because a lot of times you get two legs up to a new high anyway. And I mean, if this would have been a close on its very low, maybe, but the fact that it didn't quite close on its low either, it's not a real strong bar. It is kind of a little failed break higher as well, but generally you're going to get two legs up. And but when it comes back to this trend line, notice you got your swing off the first two. This confirms it. You get a nice bearish bar. Um, Now you've got a break and two legs up. So I like that one. This turns out to be a really nice trade. And you get one leg down, a little correction, then a second leg down, and then it bounces here. It's tempting to kind of go long here, but you don't have a break of this channel in a new low yet. So you get a break or a close outside. It tries to go lower, you don't get it, and it just kind of going sideways. And then this is almost a little repeat pattern. It breaks out and fails, and it turns down right off. Actually, you may not have had that blue, and you could have gotten it. You could have drawn it right across here and drug it up, and you probably would have been ready for it there. But you may not have had that yet if you're not real skilled at this. So, um, but anyway, so that doesn't really confirm that trend line. That just sets it. And so, but if you notice what's going on here, you probably would have already had your line there and been prepared for it. And so when it turns down right there, either way, it's a failed break higher. and a nice bearish bar, just go short. And this thing rocks it right on down to the lower trend line, and then you're working up. You get a close outside, move to a new high, and a big bearish bar right there. Go short again. You might, um, you know, if you use the limit order, you probably wouldn't have got filled more than the tick back inside, but that would have given you enough to get 4 ticks before you went out the bottom, I believe. So I still like that one because everything's still inside that blue trend line. Um, and that's why you get a wedge here. You got one channel line, and then you got another one, and they intersect, and it makes it look like wedges. And that's the reason there's not really such thing as a wedge. There's always a reason, that something that causes that, and that's what's happening here. You got two conflicting channels working against each other, and it makes it look like a wedge. You're working off this trend line, and you're working off that trend channel line right there, and it forms a wedge. But anyway, this turns out to be a nice trade, and you're looking for prices to test these overnight lows, which are down here where the blue line is, and there's enough room to get out. It actually shoots through there, pulls back, and then notice this is a double top, so that's a new high. Pull back first entry, pull back second entry. It's a failed second entry long, right into the trend line. A bearish bar, you can go short right there. When it pulls back and tests it again, I like adding on here. You wouldn't have been out, so you can add on. Look how bearish that bar is. That's the double test of this high, that line across there. And this was a nice move. Any runners would have been safe. You would have got runners on this one. Actually, you would have got them. No, they came back on this one, but you would have got on this one, this one, this one, and this one. You would have had runners. Actually, both of these, because you didn't get out of this one for. So you would have had runners on all those. And then now it's working down this shorter term trend line. You get a close outside, a new low, and it reverses. Now you're working up. You get a little close outside, a new high, and it's a pullback to test that trend channel line. And look at that bearish bar. I like going short there. And you never got another opportunity to enter this one. It just continued on down. I like this one for a possible long, just because you're so far away from the. Actually, you could say the same thing about this one, but you don't have a. The only reason I don't like this one is because you don't have really a good close outside this line yet. You might say, hey, you got a close out there, but it's so close. This line might be a little higher, and it's hard to tell. So you want a convincing close outside, and you don't have that yet. So, but that's still a long way away from the EMA. So it's a little bit tempting there, but I think you're better off to wait, because you do have a break and a new low there, and then you're working up. But anyway, you're coming down, and you don't really have a break of this one yet, but on the bigger channel, you've got the close outside, convincing, and a new low, and you're way away from the EMA, and you got a nice little small bar. It's real low risk. So if you want to be aggressive and try to catch that low of the day, there's where it might happen for you. And then we're moving up. We get the close outside. And notice what happens. You get a little move down, and it tries to go lower again, and it traps people and turns up. And notice that its first two set the trend line there, and then this confirmed it. And that's a nice bullish bar. And look at it go. And you get a close outside, a new high, and then you're working down. You get a close outside, a new low, and then it reverses. And where does it reverse? Right off that key entry point. And again, you would have had a runner here. Look at it go. And it even pulls back and gives you a second chance here. With this one right off that trend line. And you would have had a runner there as well too. And then you get one more chance. It moves back over to the EMA, and you get this nice bullish bar. You're going long, right? And we're actually back inside. I don't have this drawn across there. Let me draw it. You can see right there, we got back inside the channel, and we pulled back and tested it once, twice, 3 times, and then bounced. And so and that's a nice bullish bar. You might have let it break higher, then let a limit order back in a few ticks and got a little better entry. And that is a little aggressive. If it would have ticked lower and given you that failed second entry short, which it doesn't do, it is two measured legs up in a correction though, so it still almost serves as a trap, but it couldn't get back through the support resistance line, and it takes off again. And then you get, then you just kind of go, you get a close outside, you just kind of going sideways. Um, you can't go long right into that. So there's no real setup there, just too much overlap. And then you get the little failed break lower right off the EMA. I like going long right there. And again, those a lot of times will catch you the low, a critical low or critical high. And this would have been another one. You got a nice move on up to the upper trend line. And that's a measured move from right here to here. And you just measure it. That's where you're headed. And you make that measured move and it turns down instantly. And that got you into the 2 o'clock hour. So nothing else really there to talk about. But this was a nice downtrend. And like I said, if you found these key entry points, if you just found these first few, there's one here, you would have had a runner. There's one here, you would have had a runner. Here you would have had a runner. Here you would have had a runner. I don't think you would have had one there. You would have caught one here, 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 and maybe here. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But anyway, all you got, if you can catch one of these trades and get one of these runners and get 5 or 6 points, 7 points, 8 points, maybe more out of one of these runners, it really changes your math. So, but it was a nice downtrend, and then it was a nice reversal. So, hope you had a good trading day. I hope you've had a good week. It's been a good trading week. Uh, but we'll be back again. No chart lesson tomorrow. We won't be back till Monday. So I hope everybody has a great weekend. Hope you have a good trading day tomorrow. And we'll be back again Monday to do it all over again. But I'm out of here for the day. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.